when you don't know what's coming next, like always. But once you've got a bit of a feel for it, it's corners like this. This is a double right-hander. Oh, sorry, hang on, I might be behind. No, I'm live. Yeah, that double right-hander. It's not obvious the quickest way through there, so I'll talk you through it. You basically have to go quite narrow to the first one, and then it kind of hooks you around the second one. But there's a lot of patience required. Things like that corner as well. If you get on the gas too early, you always run wide. So there's quite a lot of patience required to...
It's because my force feedback is super high.
Okay.
Going on those curves, it's killing my hands.
So this right-hander you come up to now is flat out, even on cold tyres. All the way up the hill here, it's flat out. Even though you can't see where you're going. And then the double right-hander coming up is down one gear. And just get... Yeah, that's it. And then just basically get close to the first apex and be really patient on the gas and smoothly feed in the power through the second one. If you're running wide, wait even longer. This is down two. And then as soon as you've got enough space to get on the gas, it's obviously full throttle on the exit, but you just got to know you've got room. Turn one here is like, you've got to go in with one gear down and gentle early turning, basically. And again, if you run wide, next time, wait even longer. But you get away with quite a lot of off-track on the exit. Down the hill here, in the left, you have to lift. So you kind of have to be careful getting to the left. And then I go down 3 gears, or down to first gear for this hairpin right, or this tight right. And that's basically it. We're back to the flat-out right-hander. And obviously it gets way nicer when the tyres warm up, but it's really about slightly under-driving it in this one. If you push too hard into these corners, like this next double right, you'll just run wide, and you gain loads of time by not being wide. Like that, yeah, that's nice. And that means when you get on the gas, you don't fall off the side of the track on the exit. You're already doing really well. Yeah, and you've already got to grips with that. You can see, though, how you could easily fall off the edge if you went too early on the gas in that last corner.
Fastest lap for James, 104.6.
So maybe slightly later turning than that, but not a lot. It's kind of like a real gradual movement to the inside. So 104 is a really good start. Just about hanging on.
I don't think my car's damaged.
Okay. Yeah, you're straight away getting to grips with the geometry. Just this final left-hander, just hug the left wall. You can do like the shortest, tightest line to the finish line. Yeah, so it wasn't massively early. It was just a little bit sharp. So if you turn in roughly where you did there, but you do it like a bit more gently, you'll get to the apex at the right time. Yeah, and if you run wide there, you know you just have to lift off more on the downhill left-hander, that's all. You obviously want to be all the way to the left, ready to turn in. Yeah, yeah. it's like, there, it's gone now. It was like it was attached to you with string.
It's still there.
Oh, it's gone for me. It's disappeared on my screen. I just saw it fly off at the
Oh,
back.
someone else is driving. I almost just drove into them.
I can't see any cone on my screen. It's completely gone.
Who? It's in the middle of the track though.
Okay.
See that? Drove through.
So just carry on doing exactly, well, I was going to say exactly what you're doing. Well held. Not necessarily exactly that, but just carry on just building up. I'm going to just mute myself for a moment because my brother just needs me to call him, but there's no point in us looking at any data yet until you've done a few more laps and you're like comfortable with a good pace. Remember to hug this left wall round the tree here, so shortest distance, yeah. That gains you like about a tenth and a half to the line. And into turn one, just turn in nice and slowly so you get to the apex that little bit later.
Wait,
Nice.
brakes.
You held on though. Well done, man. Right, I'm just going to mute myself for a sec. Right, I'm back.
Just had a little spin into town.
Yeah, it's alright. I was watching. I'm just watching it back now. I think you're just a little bit too quick. You just got to go into turn one a teeny bit slower, but not much. It wasn't crazy. It was only a little bit too fast. Ooh, that was the grass. Well held though, man. Really well held. And the second apex was great.
So many times now. I kind of want it to happen. So I don't turn with the steering. It's never happens. Oh. Keep forgetting that turns. Really slow.
Okay, so that was all good, except I think the braking for the tight right was a bit late, that was all. But down the hill looked really nice.
Oh, me and the other person in the session have got identical lap times.
Huh.
Apart from exactly 1 second. Identical lap times of a second. So, I just need to find 1 second.
Okay, well done through turn one.
Doing pretty good now.
Yeah, you're doing well. Just make sure you're able to not fall off the side of the track on the two final corners. So like the double right-hander coming up and then the next one. So make sure you can keep it on track on the exit. Just because you'll pick up a lot of 1Xs there otherwise. and it'll really kill your safety rating.
New fastest lap for Chung, 103.
Yeah, so if it's doing that, just stay off the gas a little bit longer on the way through the middle. Same with this one, just be like patient with the gas.
Also number 22. Huh. Fastest lap for him no more. As I have the fastest lap.
It would have been much quicker if you hadn't gone wide round the final corner.
And one on track. That was horrible.
Yeah, just don't be afraid to brake a little earlier for that right-hander. Even if you haven't got all the way back to the left, it's still better to arrive there slower. In fact, if you haven't got all the way back to the left, it's even more important to brake early, because you're not only are you going too quick, but you'll be on a tighter line. So through the double right coming up, if you can't keep it on track on the exit, just wait a little bit more in the middle before you get back on the gas, or just be slightly more gentle on the initial throttle.
Forget it.
Yeah, remember the track comes back at you.
Look, I'm going too fast. I think it's because I keep forgetting that the exit tightens up.
Okay, yeah, and this one does as well, so just be careful. There you go. Yeah, good job. So do a few laps where you definitely don't go wide, because if you can do these laps without risk of an off-track, then that's great, then we can do a race.
It's a cone. See that? So much room left.
Yeah, you got a much better idea of what comes next. Now remember, stay tight here, that's it. I'd still say brake a little earlier for that one, because you don't want to risk going deep there.
Yeah.
A lot of people will go deep there and you'll pick up places.
Saying loss of control, but I'm still facing the right way.
I think that counts as a loss of control.
It says 2 loss of controls.
Yeah, yeah, a spin counts for 2x.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
But I didn't spin.
Even a half spin counts.
It's not really a half spin, because I'm still facing the right way at the end. Oh.
Nicely held. I just think it's that your entry speed was a little optimistic, that's all. Let's do like a couple more laps, then we can look at some data and see where the biggest time is. Because it'll be really obvious, because it's quite a simple track. It's only 1 minute, isn't it? So.
Catching up to the person in front.
So just try and keep a little bit of the car on the track here on the exit. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. If you can do it like that, that's great.
Please don't drive into me. Thank you. How did I spin that?
I think we were just still a little bit late getting on the brakes, so you were still having to brake quite hard as you were turning in. Yeah, you just didn't quite get all the momentum off. That's alright, next lap's going to be great.
Uh-oh. Oh, that was fun.
Right, here we go. Nice clean one. Remember, just be patient on the gas at turn 1 so you don't go too wide. Well done. Yeah, if you got on earlier than that, you'd have been too wide. Did you get any X's? Looks like it's okay.
No.
Good.
I think you only get X's if you have all 4 wheels
Yeah.
past the time.
That's tidy. Let's go. So I think slightly earlier turn into that first one. But let's look on the data in a minute. Let's just complete this lap because you've done really well on this one.
Counted that one as an on track.
Okay, yeah, it was just slightly too wide. That's all right, though. Let's go with that. So if you just stop anywhere there, Henry, and jump out, just so we get that data. Let's just have a look at that. And then we can do like another 10 minutes of practice before the race. So if you just stop the car and jump out so the data uploads. And then we'll join the race session in a second. So you're in the right session. Because I think you're ready. Right, let's get... I think it was Phil Bradpot that did laps earlier. This one. What was my fastest? This one here. So let's take that. And let's grab Henry. Oh, it's Martin James 5. So your last one there, 1037, we'll take that. Can you see my screen? Henry? Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Awesome. Let me just call this a thing. Henry James, Oulton Fosters, Formula Ford 1600. Let's add you to it. Here we go. Cool, right, okay, so what can we see? Let's look over the whole lap. In fact, you can tell me. So let's just start with turn 1. What is happening at turn 1? What's good about turn 1, first of all? If we look at these 3 traces, what do you reckon you're doing well? I can't hear you if you're talking.
I am my braking advice.
Yeah, your braking looks really good. Braking looks really, really good. So, like, very similar traces, you and I. You're braking a tiny bit early, and because you're going slightly slower than me when you get on the brakes, or because of how we've come off of the final corner, that does mean you enter the corner slightly slow. But, in general, if you look at that trace, you're doing the right thing. The way you're applying the brakes is really good. So, what could we do differently? What in terms of the speed trace, this is the main one. Clearly, you and I'm the blue and you're the red, so we're doing stuff differently. What is it that you're doing that you think you could change there to make that better? If I wasn't here as your data engineer, what would you tell yourself from that first corner?
A slightly lower speed.
Yeah, we want the minimum speed to be lower because you're effectively slow. You've got a W shape and we don't want a W shape. We want a V. So you've basically got 2 minimum speeds before the corner and after the corner. And you definitely don't want a minimum speed to happen when you're past the middle, because obviously that's time you should be accelerating. So basically you're going in a little tiny bit too slow at this bit just here, but you stop slowing down too soon and get on the power. And so you're on the power a little bit early, which actually means your middle part of the corner, right on the apex, you're going, what's that, 6 kilometers an hour too quick? And that's what's pushing you wide and causing you to have to wait on the exit. So you can actually see on the throttle trace here, you're very smoothly applying the power here, but because it's a little bit early, you then have to lift and then get back on again. So if we could do one thing differently, it would be brake at a very similar point and in a very similar way to what you're currently doing, but don't be tempted to get back on the power until you've slowed it down and had a nice clean apex in the middle. So just make sure your minimum speed happens at the apex there, not before it and then after it. So that's it. Don't change very much, except just don't be quite as keen to get back on the power as soon. With this car on this track, just like let it rotate. Doesn't mean you have to still be braking. You're finishing braking at the right time. But there's got to be like a wait period to let the car rotate and then smoothly get back on the gas. And then you won't have to... Then when you get to full power, you won't have to come back off again. That's all. So that's turn one. Okay, so down the hill. Let's just zoom out.
25 minutes.
Sorry?
I've only got 25 minutes left
Until what? Until the race?
until I come to that.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Well, we've got 7 minutes until the race. Are you okay to do that? The race takes about 15 minutes, so you'll be finished at about... If you don't have time to do it, we won't commit to it. We'll just do a bit more practice, and then we can do a race on the next time we talk. So maybe let's not rush it, so you don't end up, having to quit the race in the middle of it. Okay, down the hill here, don't change very much. You're just building your confidence in these high-speed corners, so you're kind of fine through there. Let's have a look, though, because we're quite different on the braking. Oh, no, actually, our braking is very similar. I was looking at this bit here. We are really, really similar down the hill. The only difference is I have a little nibble of the brakes into the downhill left-hander, just to help it stay tight to the left, and you're not. You're doing a teeny bit, but you're at 1%, I'm at 11%. And then into the tight right, it's just a little bit earlier. You can brake slightly earlier, but your braking shape is great. Like the amount of pressure you're applying and how you're reducing it looks really good. So none of this bit is really the big concern. It's this one. It's the hardest corner on the track. It's the double right-hander where we can gain a big chunk of time. So let's just look at that. Let's focus on this one. So we're currently braking a little hard for this one and turning in a little bit late. So you can see you're getting a great second apex, but we're missing that first one. So you're giving away a little bit of speed and distance through there. So, and when we look at the steering, look at your red steering trace down here. You're doing the similar thing to me here, and then you get here, and it's like, bam, loads of steering right now. And if you look at my blue steering, it's like, it's gradual, a little bit more in the middle here, but it's sustained, and it's like constant, and then it starts to reduce. That's opposite lock there, obviously, but here it just gradually reduces. You're doing all your steering in one lump just there, and then obviously having like a nice, easy exit. But we don't want it to be an easy exit. We want it to just all be fast. And you can be quicker here by going in a little earlier and with slightly less brake. It's hard though. This is the hardest one. But if you hook up with that groove, it will grip up. As long as you then wait for the throttle. See how I'm waiting a little bit longer to get back on the power. So just wait a little bit longer and then you'll get the best of both worlds. You'll go in quick and come off quick. And then final corner. Let's just have a look there. If it lets me. Final corner we can just brake later. So we'll just brake later and... I mean, you're braking long enough. It's fine. We'll just brake later. That's it. And then have like a steeper speed drop off. So main things, minimum speed at 1 point in turn 1 at the apex. Down the hill, don't be afraid to just touch the brakes a little in the left-hander to keep you tight. Slightly earlier brake for the tight right. And then slightly tighter into the double right-hander. And if you're running wide on the exit, wait longer to get back on the power. That's really it. And then a little bit harder on the brakes for the final corner, but later. That's it. Let's go again. I'm just going to mute myself because my brother is calling me. He's broken his go-kart. One sec, Paul. So Henry, just going slightly earlier and gentler on the brakes on the way in here. So yeah, where you waited and turned in late, next time just go in way earlier than that. And make sure that your priority for that double right is making the first apex. If you miss the first apex, the rest of the corner will definitely be slow. So it's just that first one is the priority. So that last lap was definitely better into the double right, but to make the most of it, we have to go in even earlier to the first one. And obviously that's going to push you really wide for the second one, so we have to compensate by just going that little bit slower to make it. But when you hook it up, it really kind of digs into a groove. It's almost like the track's a bit more banked when you're right on the inside. Yeah, good. So, okay, so not quite on the grass like that, but yes, making both of those apexes like that, and obviously remembering the track comes back at you on the exit, that will be quicker. We can see that on the data, just how much quicker it was. In fact, I'm going to tell you whilst you're doing the rest of this. The rest of the lap's looking really good. Yeah, so there's about 6/10 if you can nail that versus what you did on your best lap before. Nicely held. Really nice. Yeah, you've been really nice and accurate on like that apex through that last right-hander. That's good as well. This is all nice. So same as last time, just don't go on the grass on the inside, but hook up with the first apex, just not the curb itself, but very close to the curb. And then you can smoothly feed the gas in through the rest. And then obviously if you're losing time, because we're going too slow, then we'll just do it slightly quicker. We can work on this again next time. This is good because it's a track you're going to race out in real life, so it's worth getting good at this track. And it's one of the hardest ones as well. It's one of the most difficult British tracks. The full layout is even harder. This is just like the half layout. Yes, this is called the Foster's version. This is the easier version, yeah. Yeah, we're missing out half the track. But this stuff here is really hard. Like, these are some of the most difficult corners. So remember, we want to go in gently, but much earlier than that. So don't hang around the outside. I'm going to try and give you a reference point, actually. I'll just go back and have a little look at what a good turning point is. So the turning, there's a change in tarmac, and it's well before the tarmac changes. We should have already turned in. And that time you did it like 2 or 3 car lengths after the change in tarmac. I don't know whether you'll be able to see it when you're driving. So this section's all much tidier and nice. So it looks like we've got like 10 minutes till you need to go, haven't we? So let's just keep going. Okay, so as you come round this uphill long left-hander, there is a change in tarmac. Turn well before that change, so it's like now. Yeah, so that was actually a really good turning point. Just obviously, yeah, we just braked a little bit late. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, don't worry, man. It's fine. Yeah, it's a very shallow turn-in, but you can go a little bit wide between the two right-handers. So, you know, it goes like right, right. The bit in between the two, you don't have to be pressed up against the inside there. You actually want to be a little bit away from the inside, so you've got some space to get to the apex of the second right. So it's kind of very clear apex, roughly to the middle, or 1 car width from the inside, and then second apex. That's the way it works today. So it's 1 arc, but if you can do it in 1 nice flowing arc, then you know you've done the best speed without going too slow or too fast. But it all relies on that pretty early turn-in. It's only 1 downshift as well, so you're only going to go down 1 gear. Pretty gentle braking, but it's gentle and early before the tarmac changes. Nice. And then you can feed in the power. Yeah, so that's how we went in slow enough that you were able to stay a bit tight all the way through. So same again, but just slightly quicker through the first apex. But you're on the right track.
So yeah, what's happening?
Sorry?
The wheels just went
Oh, right, okay. I'm just watching back. You were on the grass on the way in. So yeah, same as you did last time. It was like a really lovely trail break you did before. Just don't quite slow it down as much. Just a little bit faster than before. Well held. You got on the grass there on the entry. You held that really well. And you made the exit perfectly. So good job that time. Let's do it again. Really tidy through there as well. Well held. Just keep the steering really nice and buttery smooth down here. You don't want to flick it in or anything, just nice and gradual. Very tidy. Cool. Right, now let's just execute the double right-hander at the top of this next hill. Very similar to what you did before, just don't touch the grass on the entry. And don't fall back into your turning in late trap. Was that 2 downshifts that time? Sounded like we went down an extra gear. You're doing really well at keeping it on the track on the exits. Let's do another one, and then we'll spend the last 5 minutes just having a look at data. But it's good, though. You're doing really well, man. Let's just finish this lap. See if we can do the double right-hander any better. I just want to take the data from your best one.
It's not counting any of my laps.
Oh, really? Did you get a black flag or something? It's counting the laps for me. I can see them.
1034. But I set that lap to 80.
Yeah, that was early. That was before you started doing the double right-hander a bit better. I think we'll probably look at your previous lap you just did before this one.
Check this one. This is
Do you think you did it well through there?
yeah, this is faster. It says it's faster.
Okay. Right, well in that case, let's look at that one then.
James, 103.4.
So just stop anywhere there and hop out and we'll have a little look. And then you've got to go and I've got to go as well anyway. Let's have a little look. Martin James. It hasn't loaded yet, so in a second. There we go. Got it. Okay, right, so you did change turn 1. We're still going through the middle a bit too quick, so your minimum speed is still happening after the corner. So we just want to bring that back. We want to make sure we're going slow. The slowest part of the corner is the apex, not after the apex. If you find you're still having to like wait on the gas past the apex, you know we went through it too fast and we're wasting exit speed. Because actually, most of your time loss in turn 1 isn't in the corner, it's down the next straight, and it's all because we're coming off turn 1 too slow. So it's not, you're not losing a huge amount, it's only like 0.2, but you don't have to lose that if you're slightly tidier through turn 1. So that's that one. You've changed down the hill a bit. You're a little bit quicker down the hill, so that's cool. And you're much better in the tight right-hander. Much better. Like, you're now quicker than me through the apex, so that's really good. So, good job through that one. I don't know what happened here up the hill. Something's happened here. We had a big lift for some reason here. Don't know what happened there. Oh, you went really wide around there for some reason, around the fast right-hander. So, we had a bizarre time loss that you don't normally have. I don't know what happened there. But the corner we're focusing on is this double right-hander. So how different does it look? Well, definitely in terms of line, you are definitely now making that apex because I can't see the green line because it's on top of the blue line. So your line is really good, really good, really good. Line is great. The only thing that's not perfect yet is obviously our entry speed because you've slowed it down a bit in order to try and get the line right, which is understandable. So you're exiting really well now, much quicker than you were exiting before. But the bit we would work on now is the bit up to the apex, so up to the first apex. Because we're now going, what's that, like 20 kilometres an hour too slow on the approach to the apex. At the apex itself, you're not far off, it's 5k difference. So you're only 5 kilometres an hour slower than me at the apex, and before you were like 20 kilometres an hour different. So you're definitely better, and you're doing a shorter line, which is great. But we're just going to enter that corner faster. So next time we do this, we'll work on this bit. And obviously on this lap, because you were really wide around here on the approach, of course you had to slow it down more because you were much tighter to the inside when you started to brake. In fact, look, your peak braking is there. And look at where you are on the track compared to I am. Like, you're all the way over on the right. So you're having to slow it down more to get over to the left to then turn in. So that makes sense. But what you've done in the middle and all the way through the exit is way better. So good. That's a really good step. And then the final corner, how have we changed this one? You are braking later, you are braking harder, that's good. We can go even later, even harder. So that's the next thing. And we actually want to move the minimum speed a little bit later on this one. So we want that to be just a little bit later because it's quite a late apex corner because of the way it cuts back on you. And you can see you do go through the middle a little bit quicker and you do exit faster than me. So here up to here until you go a little bit too wide around the final corner, but from here up to about here, which is quite a lot, you actually pull a little bit of time back on me, but you've done that because you've gone in that little bit slower. So we can gain a bit more time by going in faster and actually accepting our minimum speed is just a tiny bit slower and a tiny bit later. But yeah, that's a tricky one. It's easy to just brake later, but it's tricky to get the middle phase exactly right. But it's not the end of the world. The big bit is still that double right-hander, but you've really improved on that one. If I delete the red lap, you'll see you're like, I know it's only like 3-4 tenths, but it looks a bit more similar to mine now. And here where it doesn't, I mean, that's an easy fix. I don't know what the heck you did there. You just went like round the outside. I've got no idea why. It's just like you forgot to turn. So there we go. That's easy. Like that whole time loss, what's that? 364. So it's like half a second there that you lost just by driving around the edge. So without that, that would have been a much faster lap. And suddenly you're looking really good here. So that's nice. Let's come back and do some more when you've got time. I'm going to have to go now and collect my other half from the station. I'm just going to stop our little recording. I'll upload this for you anyway.